The explosion of data analytics in projects has encouraged people to look for ever more imaginative ways of measuring progress, or setback, and ever more creative proxy measures to stand in for those things that we'd like to measure, but simply can't get our arms round. Whilst this is to be encouraged, to a point, it tends to put all of the emphasis on the creation of the metric, and ignores what happens when the dashboard is shown to the project team. The sad fact is that there are 101 reasons why your brilliant new metric may not provide the insight that you anticipate. For example, lack of interest. Are the project team sufficiently engaged by what you are doing? How many project board meetings have you taken part in where half of the attendees simply haven't turned up and the other half are tuned out? Not invented here. People see what you are showing them as your metric, rather than theirs, and they refuse to recognize the validity of the insight. Information overload. You have made the mistake of allowing the dashboard to grow like Topsy, which means you are now presenting so many different graphs and charts that no one can see the wood for the trees. Lack of context. Most metrics are more insightful when you can see the previous metric, or better still, you can identify a trend from a series. A single metric always begs the question, so what? Let me share some of what we have learned from the work we have been doing with human-centric data on infrastructure projects around the world. Here are a range of the different measures and perspectives we have been able to generate, and both the chosen metrics and the way we gather them are designed to address the engagement gap I have been describing. For a start, this data is the team's data. Following each project progress meeting, we ask them for their views on things, such as their perception of the project vision, or the likelihood of project success. The data gathering is about them, and about the things they hold most important. And within 24 hours, each of them receives a rating of their personal contribution, the specific meeting metrics on which they are focusing, along with a reminder of their previous score. Alongside ratings and graphs, we capture feedback in their own words, which allows us to express and illustrate the team's sentiment through things like the Picasso images. By building in tools such as the disk profile, we provide some additional perspectives to help the team make sense of why they might be responding in specific ways to what is happening in the project, and how their own personality traits may predispose them to particular ways of working. And whilst we are diligent to make time to capture and to discuss and process the feedback at the end of every progress meeting, we are also careful to swap the metrics we use over the months, because we recognize that without change, people's attention starts to wander and they start to miss what's emerging in front of their very eyes. So when you are planning your data dashboard, ask yourself, have you thought about why your team are going to bother looking at what you have done when they have so much else on their plate? These metrics are designed for their benefit, so how much input have you given them into the choice and design of the whole process? How much can you realistically expect them to process, particularly given that the dashboard is designed to generate action from the team to anticipate or remediate issues? What data can you mash together to increase the insight and the value of the dashboard? If you want them to adopt the dashboard and change their behaviour over the long term, how are you going to keep the process fresh and relevant? You can read how our approach to human-centric data has been used on the Infrastructure and Project Authority's Transforming Infrastructure Performance Programme in this iccvam report. Talk to us to find out more and learn how you might pilot this work for your own projects and programs.